Today I wanted to show you what I've been working on very recently, and this is it. Hi and welcome to Not That Deep, where we're not that deep but we also realize it's not that deep. I said in my goals video for this year that I really wanted to work on a couple of bags, and I've finally worked on the first bag request for this year. I did something similar to this last Christmas, and I will insert a picture of that somewhere around here. But you might remember this lining from a different bag that I made. But yeah, no pockets or anything in this one. But this is in a different design. So this is more of a knit, whereas the one I did earlier was more of a woven style. And I really tried to make sure I could get this lined. But what I have been struggling with is the best closure for this. So in the one I did last time, I actually added a zip, which I did like, but the way the zip and the ribbon I used to line the outside, I don't know, I just didn't really like how it came out. So I thought to try something different. So with this one, it is currently lined. So I've got a red contrast lining with a pocket that has some of that black ribbon in there, just so that I feel like it identifies the pocket a bit better. There we go. And what I've tried to do, or the logic is that I've introduced this flap. Now the black is what lines the lining, the red lining, so that you don't see any of the red through any holes that might form within the stitches. And the idea is that you can see some of that black lining right here, but this then folds over and can tuck in so that your goods don't necessarily fall out. Now you can see some of the red stitches. I've tried to use the red on the inside where the red is, and then black on the outside, so it kind of just folds in. You might see a peak or two, but it's a nice quick, you know. This is the logic that I was going for. Whether or I mean, I don't know if the execution has come out quite as I expected, but I do feel like functionally it works and reduces some of the bulk that would otherwise have formed up here. So this is where I got to last night. The structure of the bag is done, but I really wanted to line it. Now my thinking was to line it with this red fabric that I have. It's a bit textured, so it's not really like a nice smooth lining, but I do like the contrast of the red and the black. I don't know, yeah, I feel like it will be good. But I didn't want the red to show through like where there might be gaps. So I have just popped to the store to get some pretty standard black fabric, nothing fancy, just to line the outside. Obviously got some safety clips, which you can probably see there, and I also got some snap fasteners that I'm hoping, I don't know if they're going to be strong enough, but really and truly, I don't know. I mean, this is what I got, but I have got an idea to ideally use it without the fasteners, but I will see how that goes once I've cut out the lining. I might actually plan without. This is just in case, but we'll see. Good work. Maybe a pocket. Hello. Hi. Okay. Never mind. So, as a demo, this is what it would look like. This is the red interior. There would be a pocket here. It would be surrounded by black so that you don't see the red through the stitches. And this could potentially flap over for security purposes and to keep the red off show. But yeah, that is what it would look like, and now I just need to sew it together. I've just set up my machine with black bobbin thread and red regular thread because I can't find any more black thread, and even the red thread has been seen better days, but you know what, it's what I'm going to use. The machine itself is also quite janky, but again, we'll see what it's ready to do for me. So yeah, set up, ready to sew. this is the lining so far. It opens, or it's got an inside pocket. This will be doubled over like this to go in the bag. So I just need to seam off the two sides and then it will go into the bag like that. Yep, that's me. If you're wondering how I ended up here, well, I needed my desk for work, so my machine had to get relegated to the floor. I was walking past it a few days later when I had a bit of a eureka moment. I didn't feel like I had enough time to set up the machine on the desk again, so here we are. It's been a couple of days, I know, but I was literally just walking by the machine, which is no longer set up on the desk, and I had an idea of what about if I lined the edge with like some yarn in between. So this is just cotton yarn, and that could in theory make it like nice and neat, but also like easy to find. So that's what I'm doing now, and then I should be able to just connect the lining to the inside of the bag and the bag should be done. So that's where I'm at. So we ran out of bobbin thread. Ain't that fun? There we go. That should fit into here. No, it's gonna fit into this side. There we go. Been away from it too long. Do I need a snap fastener? I don't know. It's funny because a lot of this bag was ultimately freestyled. The idea sort of came into my head for the lining, and I kind of just thought, well, how do I go about this in a way that is ideally not too difficult, but gives me what I need? And I think in hindsight, I probably could have planned it out better, but I do think it came out pretty good given the circumstances. It's not the neatest. It almost never is with me, and I need to get to a point where I can actually stop saying that because I would like my stuff to be neat. But I do like how it's come across. I like the contrast between the red and the black, and I have tried to conceal a lot of my seams, especially within sort of the black and the red. So I think the order in which I did that, I was quite pleased with, but again, I probably could have spent more time planning that process out. Um, Also very pleased with the fact that you can't see the red from outside the bag because obviously I lined it in the black. So I do think it gives what I need it to. I'm not 100% sure about the overall closure at the moment because I think once I was sort of done doing a lot of the seams, I then thought, oh, maybe I could have put like a snap fastener in, you know, between here and wherever it needed to be connected to in here. But I had already done up all of the seams, so I would have to take the whole thing apart. And I'm trying to get this to its new owner ASAP. So I was stitching in the car. Like it was really lastminute.com to try and get this thing across. Anyway, my point is, I think it has come away from, you know, it being an idea in my head. I'm happy with how it turned out. I can only hope that the recipient is as happy. Like I say, from a security standpoint, it's not as secure as I would like it to be, but my logic is that at least they're concealed so that they're not just out in the open, which would be the case if I had not lined the bag. So I do think there is something. Is it enough? Probably not. But again, also let me know, what do you think? How would you go about that if you were the recipient of such a bag? But yeah, this is where I got to with it. Some hand knitted with machine sewing and some hand sewing as well, actually, for some of the inside seams. And yeah, it was a nice opportunity to use my hands, so that I'm quite pleased with and enjoyed as well. Now, these bags are always interesting because making the actual bag itself isn't difficult or time consuming per se, but the lining and trying to make sure that it's of presentable standard, I think, is where a lot of the time and effort goes into. So I think actually making the structure is actually really enjoyable. That is a nice sort of mindful task. You can sort of just sit in front of the TV and then get it done. But then when you're planning out the lining, it becomes a whole, what do I need to do? How do I want it to close? And obviously, I was having that internal discussion with myself of when I did the zip, I could see so many flaws, I guess, with it. Ultimately, I think it does work, overall, but I'm not entirely sure of the longevity of it. And that's kind of the reason I was thinking about trying to do something different. I mean, maybe in hindsight, I probably could have still done the zip, but rather than use the ribbon, use something thicker. That might have been the solution. Anyway, so there's that. I tried something different, and here we are. I will say that the idea of some of how parts of this is actually executed was literally like on a whim. I hadn't actually done anything. My machine was sort of sat there from the last time I used it, and I thought, what about if I do it like X? And then I sort of just dashed to the machine and tried to get things done. So, and also there's a lot of madness to my method, if I'm honest, because it's not like all properly measured and stuff. It kind of just, it's pretty organic. Yeah, let's call it that. I like organic. So yeah, we're calling it organic. It was a bit more of an organic process, but it's brought us to a point where we now have a completed bag. And yeah, I'd love to know what you think about it. I really like the velvet and how it catches the light, and therefore you can sort of make out the stitches. So yeah, that's just me. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, please let me know. And like I say, let me know your thoughts on the bag and the closure method I used. I'd be really interested to know if you've got anything different that you would have done. And subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss what I'm up to next time. And I'll see you in my next one. Thanks again for watching.